Hey, folks, before we get into the food episode, Redux, Joe, I hear you're back in Brain Academy, training your brain like from a Nintendo DS. How's that going?
That's it. My insurance pays for me to play that game for 4 hours. It's fine. No,
yeah, it's the game Beyonce likes.
So I am halfway through an IOP program, intensive outpatient program, which is like a PHP program, but just with less hours. A PHP program you may remember as the thing that took away my precious earth metals and made me feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been incredibly helpful, and a lot of people seem to like the sort of just here are the details of the psych ward experience, of just giving sort of like the beats of like what happens. So I can do that with the IOP program as well.
Yeah, do it.
Just at the top of this, everything like disclosed in the IOP program in the group therapy is confidential, and nothing I'm about to say is any of that. I'm just talking about like what actually happens. So it turns out the best way to become undepressed is to sit in a circle with a bunch of other sad people. It works great. So the IOP program I attend is from 9 to 12:45, 3 days a week. It's offered 5 days a week, and you pick your 3 days. This is a genius move because.
Do you have to stick to those 3 days, or can it just be any 3 days you choose?
It's exactly what you just said.
Oh my
that's
God.
what kicks ass.
This should be how work is. Dude, this should be work. It should be work 3 weekdays of your choice.
Yes, absolutely. But the reason it's especially great is if you have a bunch of people who are like not doing so great and are kind of like depressed or like struggling to sort of get their feet under them, if you miss a day, you didn't blow a commitment now. Now you just have to know you have to go on the other days that are available. So immediately it makes missing way less of a painful thing. Like, just speaking personally, like if I believed I had to be there at certain days and I couldn't make it, I would really beat myself up over it. But not this way, because it's way more flexible and way better.
Yeah, it's like how when you can't make a Sickos recording, it doesn't feel bad because like what does that mean? Well, I was just gonna record during work hours doing time theft anyway, so I'm instead gonna play video games and do time theft tomorrow. I don't care.
Yeah. So every IOP day consists of 3 groups. Each of them are about an hour, and there's a 50-minute break between one of them, and then there's a 45-minute break for lunch between 2 and 3. And who is there on a given day is just who shows up, which is kind of fun because the dynamic of the group can really just depend on who's there. There was one day, and this was the day right after the Roe v. Wade leak happened, that like I showed up and no one was there. It was just me and one of the group leaders, Anthony, and he's like, I guess it's just you and me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to say all the weird shit now. People did eventually come later, and a lot of people rightfully were like, can we talk about the, and we did as much as you can, because a lot of the stuff is about doing things that are in your power. And I gotta say, we don't really have a lot of influence on the outcomes that are currently being pushed upon us.
Yeah. The options are parody a Supreme Court justice, which I'm not going to do, so that's out. That's pretty much the only thing. Someone else can parody them.
You can't protest outside their house. The Dems were like, that's very rude. That is illegal now. So no matter what, the first group is check-in group. And I will say all of this may sound like it's just a bunch of worksheets. And that is kind of true. But these are like worksheets with NEN. Like these aren't regular worksheets. And the reason they have NEN is because everyone in there is putting their NEN into the worksheets.
Okay. What do you mean? Give me an example.
Well, all right. Well, I'll just explain the check-in group, the concept behind it. The first thing you do.
Yeah.
How it works is you literally go around the circle and you say how you're doing and what you're struggling with, and then you also fill out a piece of paper. And this piece of paper This is going to sound kind of like baby shit, but it's actually very important. It asks you things like, what is your appetite? How many meals have you had? When's the next time you're going to meet with your therapist? When's the next time you're going to meet with your psychiatrist? Do you have any safety concerns? Do you have any substance abuse concerns? Do you need to be pulled for one-on-one consultation? These are all like very organizing and important questions when you're in recovery.
Yeah.
And that takes an hour because this is also when people sort of just like explain where they're at. Now you get to hear everybody's struggles and how they're handling them. And it's nice because you get to experience a bunch of other people who are also like, things kind of suck. And it's like, that's such a fucking relief. Oh my God.
Yeah, because at work, no one will say that. At most, you'll get Mondays, am I right? And you'll get some like, oh yeah, you can't be like creeping fascism, am I right? And they'll be like, that's political. And they'll send a SWAT team to your house.
Right. There could be a comment coming right for you, and like they would not acknowledge it.
It'd be like, it's not a Monday, so I can't acknowledge that bad things exist. Sorry.
So the second group is a module, and the specific types of therapy this program uses is CBT, DBT, and ACT. So
cock and ball torture, dick and ball torture, and
and then asshole cock torture.
Yes.
Cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, and acceptance commitment therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And the second group will be a deep dive on a concept in one of those three fields. So, for instance, one module I found very helpful is exploring negative core beliefs. So, a core belief is just like something you believe deep inside of you. Like, for me and you, it's that the machine is going to get blood. And the evidence of that is that the machine gets blood all the time. It can't be turned off. And it requires no power because it's like scissors.
Yes.
But you can also have negative core beliefs, which are reflections about yourself. What makes them so hard to untangle is that they're often based in some sort of reality. Like, if you have a negative core belief about yourself, it's probably based on some fact that might be distorted, but it is a fact nonetheless.
Yeah. And it might be like a self-fulfilling thing, but the fact that it was self-fulfilled doesn't change the fact that it was fulfilled.
Right. So for me, in this instance, I realized that my negative core belief, which was a big impediment to me recovering, was the belief that I can't get better. And the reason I thought that, it's because for the last 20 years, I have been at war with my brain. Like, the evidence is obvious why I might think that. It's not true by the fact that I am continuing to get better, and everything, including my time in the psych ward, has been an improvement, so that sort of dashes that. But the evidence pile is large, and it's easy to see why that's the case.
Yeah.
And then the third group is usually like something like art therapy, music therapy, or if it's a Friday, they do weekend planning, which is something I actually really enjoy because...
Whoa. Tell me about this.
Weekend planning is great because since being discharged, one of my concerns was just like, oh man, sometimes I'm going to be alone with my head.
Yeah.
That's no good. And weekend planning is literally like, all right, what are you doing this weekend? What's going to cause you to regress or like flail? And what are you going to do about it? And it's really helpful because
it's literally how, like, at work, they say, hey, any plans for the weekend? And you just go, no. But this is like that in good faith. And it's helpful.
It is helpful because it's like what I'm doing is I'm like putting together the plan to defeat my brain like on Friday.
Because it's moveset.
I do.
I'm very familiar.
I do. And there was also another exercise we did which was very helpful, which was like sort of realizing your support circle and like what actually it offers you. And like it was like just who are three people that offer you support and what do they offer you uniquely? You were in there, of course. For you, I put you don't try to fix anything. If I explain,
I will text back. That sucks.
Yes, that's what I said. I was like, I have Tom will say, "Damn, that sucks," and it's actually the best thing someone could say. That's actually correct. There's actually nothing more correct.
I'm looking at the facts, and there's only one way to interpret this data, which is yee.
Right. Another person on there was Gesto M. Haverty. What M is great at is they also struggle with mental health stuff. So, like, I can get in the trenches with them. Like, I can really talk the nitty-gritty stuff.
Yeah, and you can talk about your frame data.
Absolutely. And with Winnie, it was just like, this is someone who's seen me at my, like, lowest. I have no qualms about being weak in front of this person, and that's extremely important.
Yes.
Yeah. So just doing things like that 3 days a week, and it doesn't sound like much because it is, I'm not going to overcomplicate it. You are just doing these worksheets in a circle, and then you take a break and do a different worksheet generally. But it fucking works. It fucking works because it also gives yourself structure. Because, like, the night before, I'm laying in bed. I'm like, all right, well, what am I going to tell the group? I'm not, like, trying to be funny. I'm not going to do a tight 5 minutes. But it's like, what am I going to, like, say? What I've been sitting with. And there's also something great about seeing people who come in with problems. And you get to see them, like, get through it and over it, which just kicks ass. Yeah.
That is cool. I'm glad that you get to go to Brain Academy.
Yeah, and and this particular program has no prescriber, so like they can't be like, no more lithium, Joe. They can't do that.
They don't have a parliamentarian who just exists to be like, my little rules will mess you up. Tee-hee-hee.
No. I know when I did the intake for this program, and they asked me, like, so, like, because one of my goals was, like, I want to be able to relax. I can't relax easily. I'm always sort of at war with my head.
You can't sleep because your bed's on fire.
Yeah, and she asked me, so, like, what do you like to do? And I was like, play video games. And then she asked an awful follow-up question, which is like, oh, what kind of games? Oof. I was sitting there in the chair, and I'm like, I love managing a little town. I like it when there's a little town that I get to control.
I hate it when the Northman makes it so I can't upgrade my keep.
Yeah, and she was like, cool. And I'm like, thank you. That is the appropriate answer. Just to say cool to whatever I said, because the video game specification question, I would hope, had no bearing on my treatment plan. Yeah,
it's like if you had been like, well, I like 4X games, they sort of press a big red button and you get put in a conveyor belt.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm at the halfway point. I'm feeling optimistic about it because there's already been a lot of gains. The thing that I experience now that is the largest benefit is that I'm less fragile, by which I mean I bounce back so much easier. Because, like, when I start to feel the devil, I have, like, these skills now that, like, make the devil go away.
Yeah. But for me, I can definitely say that before, when you would text me, like, I don't know if I can do whatever thing today, I'm feeling really down, depression's bad, I would, like, feel this mounting sense of, like, dread and fear. When you say that now, I'm just like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. And don't think about it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. You have to, and part of that group check-in, that first group, is you have to list, like, what are some values that you're trying to, like, focus on. And I've had honesty as my main value every time, just because I have noticed when I'm communicating openly and regularly with people, the depression cannot get that bad. Yeah. It keeps it under control, which is why, like, if I can't record, it's not like, hey, I don't feel so good, and then I, like, ghost you. Now it's like, hey, I feel like shit for this reason. Also, here's some dumb jokes I can't stop thinking of. Anyway, we'll talk tomorrow.
Yep. And it kicks ass, I tell you what. And also, talking about honesty, we turned Anime Sickos into free extra therapy. All those other chumps without podcasts are not getting the same level of care as you are.
Yeah. We're also, like, taking money from the insurance industry in a way, right? Because like you don't need therapy. You can just listen to this because we'll solve everything.
Yeah, we've Joe described all the worksheets. You can make versions of home for yourself. You and all of your fucked up friends, and I know you got them. You can sit in a circle together. Fuck. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast. We look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. More infrequently than ever, we actually do that. But that's the pitch. I'm Tom, an anime sicko.
I was drinking water. I'm Joe, an anime sicko. No longer thirsty.
Hell yeah. Hope you enjoyed our cold open. Ended up being very long. Who cares? Who's going to get us? The podcast cops? If they existed, they'd have gotten us already for not pledging fealty to fucking Joe Rogan or whatever. And fucking Gary V. Joe, I hear that you want to do the food episode Redux. You want to revisit our classic concept of doing an episode about food, the famous goop.
Yeah. Well, here's a tie-in to the show. Is that, anime food always looks so good. Okay?
Yeah, okay, we're done. Yeah.
Boom. That's it. No, the reason I've been cooking more and enjoying cooking more is, one, the dopamine in my brain is working correctly, and I'm getting married soon. So the real reason anyone gets married, and you told me this, and I now totally believe you and understand what you said, the real reason to get married is not to have a public commitment to someone you love. It's so a bunch of people can send you kitchen shit.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. So many of my fucking friends have these long-time live-in SOs who are essentially they're married to. And as someone who had a long-time live-in SO and now am married to her, I can tell you, the difference between being married and not being married is fucking minuscule. It's
a better kitchen. There. It's a better kitchen. That's the difference.
That's just it. So all these people who are like, we're living together, but like, we're not getting married. Well, you are honestly making a financial blunder because there's so much money you're leaving on the table in terms of kitchen stuff. And it's so good.
Yeah. We have gotten a food processor from Gesto Erica. You got me a Dutch oven. It's nice and blue, and it sits on my stove all the time.
It's beautiful. Those Dutch ovens are so... If you buy a Dutch oven for yourself, you've become king fool. The thing to do is to become married and get them given to you. I
love the stupid fucking Dutch oven so much that if I ever had to downsize my kitchen, like all of a sudden I have to live in like a Japanese apartment, the Dutch oven would be like one of the 5 things.
I watched these YouTube videos where a guy fucking follows a Japanese person through the day in their life, and it's always people who have interesting jobs. But one of the things that is like harrowing about these videos is that the part that isn't them at their interesting job, the part of them like getting ready in their apartment is like, oh shit, Japanese apartments are like hotel rooms. Like this is horrifically small. Their kitchen is a sink and like a hot plate, and that's it. I'm so addicted to my big Western kitchen. I'm such a imperialist.
I keep reading some version of how like electric stoves are going to have to be the new normal due to the world ending. And I got to see that fire, bitch. I like it. I like the gas. I like the gas.
As a renting person, it's always so, like, seeing those articles where it's like, the gas oven, It kills you. It's a big knife in your face and a knife in the world's heart. It's like it reads to me the same as the "you should be worried" post, because it's like, okay, like what makes you think I have any fucking choice on the appliances in my house? A special golden god man called Landlord decides that.
And in my case, like it's already hooked up to the gas. Like it's done.
Yeah. Although I do say, I was at my sister's house for Thanksgiving last year. This is before Omicron was scary. And she has an induction stove, and I don't know how that shit works. That shit's fucking magic because...
Oh, you know, I believe how that works is it removes cold from objects so they become hot. I think that's the science.
No, Joe, you're talking nonsense. What happened is there's a NEN specialist who every induction stove, he does a NEN technique and imbues his NEN into the stove. She put a fucking big thing of water, cold water, on it, and it was boiling in like 2 minutes, and then she took it off, and she was like, touch the burner, and I'm like, no, I'll die. But then I touched it, and it was cold, dude. It was cold.
What the fuck?
Anywho.
Wait, can you see the flame?
There is no flame. It's like an electric stove where like the coils get hot, except the coils don't get hot. NEN shoots out and it doesn't make any fucking sense, Joe. It's like science food. You know what it is? The same wizard who made Rain Clar's fucking carbon copy things, where
same
you put
technology.
the glue on it and the glue doesn't stick together some papers, but it does some other papers. That same wizard made these stoves, and I gotta say, if I could get an induction stove for no effort, I fucking would, but it's effort, so I'm not gonna. And also, I can't. I'm a renter.
Yeah, you get what the landlord says you get.
Yes.
He could take it away from you. He could say no stove anymore.
Yeah. And it's like anytime you post about a landlord fucking you over, it's like, my landlord fucked me over. There's always someone, some well-meaning rube, some naive dope who is like, that's illegal.
Oh, that's the funniest shit. It's like, oh, okay, so you think the Easter Bunny's real. That's what you're saying when you're like, they can't do that. It's against the law.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. Well, what's my next move then? Like, go to the landlord board. It's like, yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything. I'm actually very lucky my landlord is as chill as one can be.
So the reason I really like cooking now, and I've been cooking with Winnie for a while, but it's especially nice now, is that it's structured, built-in time. It's built-in quality time where
Hell
we do
yeah.
something together.
You can't look at a screen because the stove's not on the screen. You gotta look at the stove.
We don't even get recipes off of screens because we only have one cookbook. We have How to Cook Everything Fast by Mark Bittman, which is this huge hardcover blue book that's like 1,000 pages, and it kicks ass. It has, as far as I can tell, I don't think there's been any duds.
That's so valuable.
Yeah. The other we have one other cookbook that I bought because when I got the Dutch oven, I was like, I want a Dutch oven cookbook. I was kind of bummed out because I was expecting, like, these are recipes that are only able to be done in a Dutch oven, but, like, 3/4 of them could be done in any pot. It's just like you're doing them in a Dutch oven. I got betrayed.
I mean, what a Dutch oven is pretty much is just the best pot you can get. So, like, you could do it in another pot, but, like, you could also do this in a pot that rules. And then, also, I think the other thing is you can't put a stock pot in the oven, like an aluminum stock pot. You'd be out of your mind to put that shit in the oven. You can put a Dutch oven in the oven, and then you got a double oven. Oh, it kicks ass. Have you made bread in your Dutch oven? I sent you the recipe that I have for making Dutch oven bread, but here's the thing. It's like 5 pages of very dense text. I sent them as pictures on my phone. So I understand if you saw that and was like, this is visual noise and I will never parse this data. Because I probably would react that way if someone sent me that shit. But, however, the point being, makes a good fucking loaf.
I have not made bread, but Winnie has done it solo, which actually that segues perfectly into why I love the Dutch oven so fucking much, which is I believe the purpose of cooking and eating is to make goop and dunk crusty bread into the goop.
Yes. 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 You are right. I mean, I call food, whenever we do the food episode, I call food that famous goop. Because really, the ultimate form of food is a goop. Fucking Whitney Reynolds, Gesto Mode 1.5 times goer, famously makes soups. They understand that soup is the ultimate type of food. And then stew and curry, those are just sort of thicker soups.
Yes.
Which a thick soup is goop. And also, the best part about goop is that, like, you can't really fuck it up. Like, there's no way to really mess it up other than, like, putting obscenely wrong ingredient amounts in, like making it way too salty. Even then, you can just water it down.
We made a mushroom and leek stew that, how would I describe it? It was very good, but the specific way it was good, it's like you would give it to the mayor during like a Harvest Moon autumn festival.
Yes, and he'd be like, "Yes, you've really fucking autumned the hell out of this town."
And a key part of it is that you had bread that you dunk in there. It's so delightful.
And also, you get to, like, every slice of crusty bread you get for dunking, you get the sort of economical, like, the NUMBY part of your brain lights up because you're just like, every piece of bread I'm eating is more goop that I'm not eating. Therefore, my goop will last for more, like, the leftover goop will last for more meals, and I will become an economical goop eater.
I had not even considered that.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not even like filler because it tastes good because you're eating a delightful bread.
I had not even considered this, this longevity argument you're putting forth. That's a really good point.
Yeah, man. I want to go back to your big one book. I just gotta say, it is so fucking valuable. Like, I understand, like, having a big collection of cookbooks with different specialties and different focuses, but it is so fucking valuable to your personal journey as a cooking person to just find a guy who, you know, any recipe of theirs is gonna be a hit, almost certainly. For me, that was Chef John from foodwishes.com on YouTube. This motherfucker makes a recipe video every single week and has for like 15 years. So he has made pretty much everything. He's made all genres of food. Obviously, he has his, strong points, and he will say, like, I don't know that much about this kind of food, but I did my best. But he's, like, so solid as a chef that, like, he will make nothing that tastes bad. And the videos are, like, that sort of beautiful anti-YouTube algorithm video that is so nourishing to the soul. He's never on screen. He never asks you to subscribe.
Does he say, "Hey, guys, it's your boy"?
He says, "Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with..." And then he says the name of what he's cooking that week. He says the same way every time. He's so fucking good. He will just go through first-person view, cooking the thing, explaining what he's doing and why he's doing it. And also, this is the best. Sometimes he'll just fuck up, and he'll be like, I did this wrong. Don't do this. And it's like, if you're stupid, like me, like, you will mix it like this, and you will find it extremely difficult. What you probably should have done instead is do it like that. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I will do it like that. And a lot of the times, he'll be like, then you can and here are the spices and stuff I'm putting in. But you can put in anything. And, like, that's the thing about goops. Like, realizing you can put in anything. And, like, once you have sort of the basis, like, I know I'm going to put in these vegetables.
It's jazz.
This meat. Yeah.
It's jazz. And you start noodling.
That's what I'm talking about. You can't fuck up goop. Goop will always be good. I love that shit.
The thing I associate with, like, first-person cooking videos is I'm not on Facebook, and I've not been on Facebook in a long time. But there was a period where it was just like, look at these delicious recipes that were 80% heavy cream, I guess.
Yeah. That Chef John has actual human food that he cooks, which is why I like him. Like, at anytime I want to cook something, I look up Chef John's version and make that, and dude, it's always a hit. Like, anytime you've come over to my house and I've made you something and you're like, damn, incredible, Tom, That's Chef John. Remember when I had the Shuffle Quest crew come over and I made poutine with fries from scratch, cheese curds from scratch, gravy from scratch, and everyone loved it. Every single one of those things was a Chef John recipe. The fries, the gravy, the cheese curds, all of it. Remember when I made like Cornish hens? That was a Chef John recipe. Remember when I made falafel and the whole spread? All that was Chef John. Chef John, and here's the thing about Chef John. A lot of people don't like this, and it is intentionally difficult, is he will make his video where he does the method and talks you through how to do it, but he will not show how much of anything he's putting in. To get the ingredients, you have to go to the blogspot.com corresponding page on his blog that will have the ingredient amounts, but it will not have the method. The method is in the YouTube video, so they're sort of, split in half, so you have to give him 2 hits per recipe. And this is intentionally difficult, but what I actually like about it is, in order for me to actually make any of these recipes without having to always be going on the fucking computer, is I will, in my own words, write down the method as I understand it, adding in the amounts, as they become relevant. And in the process of transcribing it, it's like I've already made it once before I make it for the first time. And thus I'm less prone to error. It's so fucking good. I love Chef John.
If you told him that, he'd probably say, I actually don't care about it. It's just a way to get more clicks.
I mean, yeah, he's a genius.
He's on that grind set.
Yeah. I love Chef John.
The reason I like the Mark Bittman book so much is it's called How to Cook Everything Fast. So all these recipes are, although they're supposed to be like quicker, I don't mean like a 10-minute thing. Like the things can take 45 minutes or whatever. But the idea is that these recipes just like don't waste your time. Yeah.
They're not intending to be super like, there's this one guy on YouTube whose whole deal is like, I made a X hour, dish, and it's normal dishes, but he spent 30 hours on them, and he's just like marinating everything an incredible amount. It's just going way too overboard. He's doing it. He's showboating. He's hot dogging. This is no hot dogging. This is for economical folk.
Right. And so as a document, the reason I like it is twofold. One, anything like prepping, like cutting veggies or whatever, is in blue text in between black text. And that is so awesome when you're cooking with someone, because it's just like, you do the blue text, I'll do the black text, and it's just immediate, flawless division of labor.
That's okay. Yes. Yeah, I love that. I did not know that about this book, but now I love this book. Okay, so because this is actually very similar to my transcription style. This is something I learned to do when I started transcribing recipes like that, which is when I write down a cooking method, all the first steps are cutting stuff and putting them in bowls. So anything that goes in at the same time as a certain thing, they all go in the same bowl. So I will be like, cut X, Y, and Z and put them in a bowl. Step 2, cut A, B, and C and put them in a second bowl. Step 3, cut 1, 2, and 3 and put them in a third bowl. And then only then will I start listing steps that involve applying fucking heat to anything. Because I hate how so many recipes will have in the ingredients 2 onions chopped, and when I get started, I get 2 onions out. I'm like, got it. And then I start cooking, and then I see in step 4, put the chopped onions in. I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't chop the onions yet. Yes. Shit.
Any transformations that need to be applied to any of the ingredients are they appear in the process at the correct time.
That's so good.
Yes, and the other thing is, so you have a recipe, which goes across 2 pages, and on the second page has variations of it. So every recipe is actually 5 recipes. Any of the stews we've made, the alternate versions will be oh, you can kind of make this Indian inspired. You can use lentils instead of this, and okay, so right off the bat there, you see how much efficient content there is.
It's absolutely insane how good and useful a well-written and structured recipe is, and also how fucking rarely it's done.
Yes.
That's so good.
There's no pictures for the individual recipes, which is fine. And the reason it's fine is because the text is so fucking good.
Yeah.
the reason the book I think is so large, it's like, yes, there's a lot of recipes, but they also tell you like this is the most time efficient way to prepare this type of thing in general. This is the fastest way to chop an onion with a diagram. So it's nice as a learner's manual for cooking as well as like an actual cookbook.
Hell yeah. Joe, you're talking about Dutch ovens and how they kick ass. I actually have a funny story that has to do with that.
It's not funny. It's upsetting.
Well, it's both. I got permission
upsetting.
to tell this from the person who told it to me, a buddy of mine. I'm not going to use any names or identifying details in this story, but it's real. It's true. And it's funny. So, there's this lady that my buddy knows. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And she has a husband who decided midway through his life, after having never cooked before and having had no desire to cook or learn to cook, he just decided, you know what? I'd like to gain a new skill, and that skill is going to be cooking. And Joe...
So that seems fine, like on balance right there.
Yes. But Joe, here's the thing. This guy is one of those guys who... And this is an incredibly common thing to happen. A guy will enter into a new field of study, a hobby, or what have you, a new thing. And it's something that has, I don't know, millennia of tradition. There have been people learning and perfecting this art for as long as human beings have been alive. And this person decides to disregard all of that and invent his own insane rules, which he believes should supersede all the things that human society has achieved up till now. The way that manifests in this case is that this man has decided, in his great wisdom, as a cooking guy, that Dutch ovens are useless.
It's like every day he draws breath is a crime.
Yeah. And Joe, I pressed this issue and I was told this. I said, how, why?
Yeah, show me the math there.
In what way could anyone consider a Dutch oven useless? And I want to be clear here. When we're talking about Dutch ovens, we are not talking about the bare cast iron Dutch ovens that one uses while camping, that you like put on the embers. And
we got an enamel interior.
Yeah. We're talking about enameled, your fucking Le Creuset and what have you. So what he did was he had got it in a Dutch oven in his journey to become a cooking guy. And he put it on a burner. He put that burner on high. He did not put anything in the Dutch oven. Not even oil. Dry, Joe, dry. He left this on for an extended period of time. I do not have the specifics on hand. But enough that when new elements, such as foods, were introduced to the Dutch oven, the enamel cracked because of the massive difference in temperature. Thus, he concludes, Dutch ovens are useless. They are too fragile and they cannot be used.
So he heated it up to, so it became magma.
Yeah.
Like it stopped being a solid. And then he put in a carrot and he was like, oh, it's fucked.
Basically, it is functionally the same as if he took his Dutch oven and hit it with a huge hammer, and when it broke, he was so devastated that he decided no one should ever use a Dutch oven.
There are many adjectives you could describe a Dutch oven with. Fragile is just not one of them. They're fucking heavy. They're so fucking heavy. Like, I know we're talking about the enamel kind, but like if we're including the kind you bring camping, like you bring them because you can shoot it with a gun and nothing happens.
Yes. motherfucker. They can handle so much heat. The reason you use a Dutch oven for the fucking loaf is that you can like put your oven at as high a temperature as you can go. And you can put your oven at like 550, and the Dutch oven will handle it because it is not fragile. Anyway, the story's not over. It's not just that a man was stupid, although what a stupid man he is. It goes on, you see, because the way that this came to light was this person's wife said on a group chat of some description that after food had come up and cooking and using a Dutch oven, they posted that, oh, actually, Dutch ovens are useless because, she's not a cooking person. She just heard her husband, who's been putting in the work to learn cooking. He has proclaimed that Dutch ovens are useless. So she's like, oh, I'll share my insight here. Dutch ovens are useless. And another person on this group chat said, no.
Yeah, I would also say no. It's like, ovens are no good because I slammed my dick in one.
Dude, exactly that. I slammed my dick in one, hurt my dick, and burned it. And now there's grill marks on my dick. It's ouchy. This person said, no. I don't know the exact wording of how they put no, but it was that was the gist. And then the Dutch oven is worthless woman DM'd them and said, I can't believe your tone when you said that to me. That was the tone when you rebutted me about Dutch ovens was so devastating and so rude. How dare you? The person was like, I didn't say anything wrong. I'm right.
Useless was the statement.
Yes,
the actual word used. And we know that's not true because compared to just a big pot, you can't just throw a big pot into the oven after having it on the stove and not think twice about it. A Dutch oven can't, the same way a big cast iron pan can do that. That alone is a value proposition that is unique.
They can also hold heat much better than a standard aluminum pan.
And the weight of the lid makes it so the thing you are cooking does not lose moisture.
Yes. Yeah, it is objectively a great thing. Joe, the upshot is the person said, basically, if you don't apologize to me, our friendship is over. And the other person, the person who believes Dutch ovens are good, was like, okay. So, Joe, this dumbass person, this dumbass man who left the fire burning under a dry Dutch oven long enough that the enamel cracked, has ended a friendship with his fucking stupid opinions. I think this is one of the funnier stories I've heard in a while.
It's just very frustrating because it's such a good item and it's someone explicitly using it wrong and then yelling at you for enjoying it.
Yeah. It's so dumb. It really is just I love this. I think that the reason I love this story so much, and the reason I loved listening to Judge John Hodgman podcast until I got sick of it, just because, there's only so many you can hear. They're all kind of the same. You could say the same of Anime Sickos, but don't stop listening to us. The reason I love this story and stories like it is just the trope of a man who just started thinking about this ancient human tradition last week, thinking that his opinions hold more weight than the conclusions that thousands of years and millions of people's worth came to.
This type of person should be doing this about martial arts. It'd be funnier.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I agree. Because, maybe actually the thing is with the martial arts, they might be the one who figures out how to do a Hadouken. It might be that we need their crazy perspective.
But no, it's just no, this very widely accepted useful kitchen tool is not great because I abused it. thus making it useless. Also, we're not friends anymore.
I will not interrogate this opinion anymore because I have it, therefore it's right. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. 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 Joe, I'm going to go on a little rampage here because on Twitter lately, there was yet another permutation of the classic food discourse that I fucking hate, which is what city has better food, LA or New York? And there were people being very opinionated, calling each other stupid, etc., etc. Some people were like, the real food place is Phoenix, and everyone knows that. And it's like, how would anyone fucking know that? Chicago dogs, try a Sonora dog. It's like, why would I know what a Sonora dog is?
I know what a Chicago dog is. It's a salad, and it's fucking great.
Yeah, it kept happening. It's happened so many times. It's going to happen so many more times. But it happened. And Joe, I made a post to this effect. But I'm going to fucking get into it here, which is I do not know. I cannot imagine a life that would allow someone to, with authority, speak to the relative quality of a given city's cuisine in comparison to another given city's cuisine. The amount of restaurant meals and travel that it takes to actually be able to speak with any sort of authority is absolutely nuts. And I did some fucking homework. I did my math worksheet to figure this out.
You got homework brain real bad here. I'm making fun of you.
So I was thinking to myself, what would it take to really know the quality of a whole city's food scene? Because you can't just know it naturally. Like the places I go when I want to have restaurant food, would you believe they're the places closest to me? I do not know their relative quality to other places in Chicago. I just don't. Especially because of the pandemic. Like I used to every once in a while have a special date with my wife where we'd go to an event, restaurant, a destination like that. Like, this place is good, and it'd be like, oh, fun, good. We don't do that anymore. It's just the place is near us, so I don't fucking know. So I was thinking, what would it take? And I made a little worksheet. So to me, if you want to know the quality of a city's cuisine, there are 11 genres that you have to be knowledgeable about.
You came up with the list, but can I read them?
You sure can.
Okay. These are Tom's 11 genres. Fine dining, brew pub, Mexican, Indian, pizza, greasy spoon, local specialty.
Local specialty and greasy spoon can and often are the same, but I made them different in case they're not.
Okay. Sandwiches, coffee shops, Japanese, Chinese.
I feel like those are the heavy hitter food genres, at least in North America. Any city is going to have numerous spots where you can get those things. Now, when you go to a given one of these restaurants, I want to go to a brew pub, you go to a brew pub. If it's your only brew pub in the city that you've been to, you have no fucking clue where on the bell curve of quality it is. It could be anywhere. It could be on the shitty side. It could be on the good side. It could be right in the fucking top where it's just as good as any of the other ones. It's just totally average. You do not know because you have no frame of reference. Now, I posit that to fully understand the quality, the given quality of that brew pub, not only of just the one that you went to, but the whole sort of scene of brew pubs in that area, you need to go to at least 5 brew pubs. That way, you can sort of judge based on all the other ones how good each is, and then sort of make a educated guess on where the bell curve of quality lies. So you can see, this city has very good brew pubs, or this city has pretty bad brew pubs. I mean, you might go to one that's excellent and then all the other ones are bad. That means that the city has below average brew pubs. You see what I'm getting at? And here's the other thing, Joe. When you go
I don't leave the house that much. I just want to also...
Yeah, me neither, dude. Me neither. Okay. When you go to a restaurant, how do you know? 2 things, actually. 1, how do you know you got the good chef working in the back? Because every restaurant has a worst chef. That's just like a fact of how things are. Anytime there's a group of things, one of them will be the worst. So if a restaurant has 5 chefs, one of them is the worst of them. That's just a fact. They may not, the worst may not be that much worse than the others, but there will always be a worst one. And maybe the worst one is really bad.
And
you don't know.
A clear example of this is Tom and I both went to DePaul. There was a place called the Chicago Doghouse.
Oh.
And it was staffed by mostly stoned people.
Yeah, by children who were barely conscious. It was opened as sort of a easier to get into version of Hot Dogs, which is a very famous, or rather was a very famous hot dog place, where the gimmick was all the sausages were like gourmet. Like it wasn't just the fucking tube of hog snouts. It was like gourmet meats and like spices in special
and
sausages.
Fancy duck fries.
Yeah, and like also like very fancy toppings that like were culinarily chosen to complement the sausage. And so this was trying to be like that, but sort of a budget version and without a huge line.
And also right on campus. Just give us that fucking money.
Yes. So when there was the guy who owned the place working in the back, it was, I'll say it, probably the closest to the ideal hot dog restaurant I've ever experienced. Like I couldn't imagine a better one. It was so good. However, 2/3 of the time there was, again, as we say, a child who is subverbal due to the substances going through his bloodstream, and you would get a piece of shit.
They had these fries, which were their like, I guess their specialty, and they were, would you call them spiral fries?
Yeah,
like a potato is just cut in a spiral. And I was there once when the person who knows how to do everything was teaching a stone child how to do it, and it wasn't going well.
Yeah, when these specialty fried chips were fried correctly, they were delicious. So
and
good.
A single entity, right? So like you had just like a spiral of potato that's all connected.
Yeah, it was so
very cool.
Fucking good. And sometimes you would get like the core, like because it was on like a drill system, and like the core wouldn't get spiralized, but it would like fall off, and they'd fry it anyway. Sometimes you'd get a big long core, and that tasted really good too. But it's extremely difficult to fry them correctly, and when you fry them either too much or not enough, it's fucking inedible, and you'd be better off getting nothing.
Yes, so that's like an example of the bad chef. And of course, not every restaurant has the kitchen visible like that, so you don't have that insight. In the case of the doghouse, you can just look with your eyes because it was very small.
Yeah, and there were many times when I looked in and I saw the staff, and I was like, okay, another day then. Anywho, so as I was saying, in order to make sure you didn't get the shitty chef, I'm going to say you have to go to every restaurant at least 3 times. And another thing is, you don't know, even discounting did we get the shitty chef, you don't know that you ordered the best thing on the menu, because much like the chefs, there's always going to be a worst dish on the menu. Maybe it's just like the worst for you, not for everybody. But like, you don't know that what you ordered was the best thing. Maybe like some other thing is their specialty with like, oh, this is where we really hit a home run. This is kind of a filler dish that we have because people want it, but we don't do it very well. You don't know.
I'm thinking about. I forget where we were, but you ordered like an Indian pot pie, and it took forever. And the reason was they were like, oh yeah, the guy who makes them like just crawled out the window. He's gone.
Those are really good though. I love the pot pies. Anyway, because of all that, and these numbers are also conservative. I'm going lower than I actually think.
These are conservative.
I think in order to really judge a restaurant's quality and ensure that you did not sort of roll the dice low or high, is you got to go 3 times. So, Joe, what I've said, just to review, 11 genres. You have to go to 5 restaurants in each genre, and you have to go to each of those 3 times. This means, in order for me to agree that you are able to speak with authority about the relative quality of an entire city's cuisine, you have to have had 165 restaurant meals in that city. Now,
this math is deranged.
Do you now see how ridiculous it is to try to state with authority whether LA or New York has better food. Who's been to both cities that much?
Anyway, Chicago is better. Like, it just is. Like, it is. Because there's gyros everywhere. They're everywhere. And they're all good.
We're the anime Sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crimes way.
Joe, you talked earlier in an episode about how the local coffee shop that you would walk to every day got removed from existence and replaced with a corn dog restaurant named Kong
ape-based,
Dong.
too.
Yeah.
It's ape-based corn dogs. And you went with me. We went on a little journey. My first question, which type of corn dog did you get?
I got the one with fried potato cubes stuck to the coating. And they said, "Do you want sugar on that?" And I said fucking no, obviously. And like I felt insulted that I was asked.
Well, I got the original for the first time, which is just like a corn dog with sugar with their filling options. I want to also just say all of their corn dogs have a moddable interior.
I couldn't believe this. This blew my mind.
You can get it as all meat.
A corn dog.
Yeah, or you can get half meat and half mozzarella.
I don't know how they do that. I understand all mozzarella.
The way they do it is the devil is back there.
Fuck, dude, it's fucked. Okay.
So what?
Also, you
what
mentioned,
interior did you get though? Like,
I got a fucking hot dog, dude. I got hot dog only. I was like, give me the normal version.
I think half and half is the best option because it's an affront to God.
Well, it is. I mean, it's all an affront to God because, as you said, there is a big screen. It's actually 4 TVs that are like playing one screen. Like each TV is a quarter.
Yeah, it's just like
picture.
people deep throating corn dogs, and it's like, oh, is it fun?
I thought you were being. I thought you were exaggerating in a comical way when you said that. No.
I've never been more serious in my life.
They are deep throating the fucking dogs, dude. It's horrible. These huge people whose heads are twice the size of yours, just shoving these fucking shafts down their mouth. It's disgusting. It is an affront to God. Anyway, I will now say my review of Kong Dong, and in advance, prior to this, I had a great distaste for Kong Dong just going into it because I used to have a really great coffee shop near me, and then it closed down, and I have never had a great coffee shop near me since. The coffee shop near me now, I'll say it's mid, and that's all it is. And
you were
I'm
empathizing
so
with my
devastated.
loss.
Yes, exactly. I was just like, there's a shortage of perfect coffee shops in this world, and to deprive the world of one is a disgusting crime. So I was going ready to hate the Kong dog. And also I thought that corn dogs in general are just fair food. They could never be that good. They will always
One of your
be
genres should have been carnival food.
I guess that's local specialty. If you're on a fairground, what's more of a local specialty than like fucking funnel cake or what have you? So my review. My Kong dog corn dog was the best corn dog I've ever had in my life by a significant margin. At the same time, I have zero desire to ever go again. Fair food is mid.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen because it's by my house, and you will be over at some point, and you will lose the persuasion battle. But it is a little bit of a stunt food. Yeah, like it feels like a novelty. Yes, for sure.
It's like if someone was like, I want ice cream. I know, I'll get a push pop. It's like, boo, fuck a push pop. Give me real ice cream. Fuck.
It's funny because the coffee shop I go to now, which is a little bit more of a walk than what Kong Dog used to be, there's a woman who worked at Kong Dog who now works there, and I asked her, I was like, did you jump ship when they went corn dog mode? And she was like, oh yeah.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
Joe, this is very quick, but there's no other episode where this will be relevant. This is something that I observed that I thought was very illustrative of how you really become a great cook. You know, a lot of people are good cooks, competent cooks, but how do you become a great cook? I got, as a gift one year, a recipe book by a famous chef. Like, this is a chef who has fine dining restaurants where, like, he is known as the guy in charge. And, like, when it gets laudits and praise, it's to this guy. And he has a recipe book of his stuff. And part of why we were given this book is because this chef really focuses on vegetables and vegetarian meals. And my wife isn't exactly vegetarian. She eats eggs and fish, but she doesn't eat meat, and dairy makes her sick. So she's sort of like halfway between a vegetarian and vegan, but also pescatarian. It's a complicated series of dietary
It's a Venn
restrictions.
diagram that I'm trying to envision, and I'm too stupid.
All of which, the point is, the upshot is, a lot of times places will have nothing she can eat.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very kind of, I believe it was my sister, who got us this cookbook that was all shit that she could eat. All veg-based stuff. We're looking at it, and there's like a lot of great stuff. There's like fancy salads, like goops that you make in a Dutch oven. There were like these little fritters that were made out of like peas that looked very good. You put the herbs in them and then fried them up crispy. They looked great. We made a lot of stuff from it. It's just all winners, all good. Here's the thing I noticed, though. In every fucking single one of these recipes, be it a salad, be it a goop, be it some other thing, no matter what, in the ingredients list, there would just be, in addition to, all the vegetables and spices and herbs and salt and oil and what have you that you use to cook with, there'd just be a big fuck-off tablespoon of white sugar in every recipe. And it's just like, oh, I get it. This is how restaurants make their food taste so good. They put the drug food in it.
It's the same tact as like the 80% heavy cream Facebook recipes.
Yeah, except that this tricks you by being a plate of beautiful vegetables, the verdant bounty of nature, into thinking like, oh, I'm eating healthy. But he puts a fucking tablespoon. Like, we had to just start omitting it. And like, the food tastes fucking incredible without the tablespoon of sugar. But I'm just like, goddamn. The fact that the way that restaurants get so good is because they realize like, oh, there's an extremely unhealthy poison dust that is the best flavor on earth.
It comes in huge bags.
We can just put it in anything. And people don't know that they have the poison dust in there, and they'll go fucking nuts for the food. So that was very eye-opening.
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode.
Joe, I have a fruit update. Fruit tournament update. Klaxon, new information. On the council of you and Winnie, me and my wife went on a weekend vacation to Starved Rock State Park in Illinois, in central Illinois. We stayed in a fun little cabin that's in the woods, but it's not a bad cabin. It has electricity and fucking air conditioning and a refrigerator and stove.
It's like the kitchen is stocked, which is awesome.
Yeah, it kicks ass. It's like you got the benefits of being in the woods in nature, but also you don't have to be in a fucking tent like a goddamn ape. So, we while we were there, we were grilling one night, and whenever we grill, we get a pineapple for dessert, so we can cut it up into spears and grill the pineapple. And generally, we by that point we're pretty full, so we eat like probably like a half of the pineapple, and then put the rest for later. Yeah. This time we were so fucking jazzed on our relaxing vacation and like having quality time with no screens together. We were really having a great time. We ate the fucking Joe. We ate an entire pineapple. 2 people just ate a whole pineapple one sitting. It was Joe. It was so fucking good. Like, oh my god. Like
was that your meal? Just a pineapple?
It could have been. Like, we both were like extremely in pain, having overeaten type stomach situation. Because like we were like, we gotta eat this pineapple. It's so fucking. We gotta eat this pineapple. We gotta eat this pineapple. It's so good. Dum. I like it more than mango. I voted wrong in the fruit tournament. So, like, I love mango. Pineapple wins. Sorry. I mean, like, I can't go back and change the standings, but that's just how it is. And here's another thing, Joe. We went to Costco recently, and Costco has different dried fruits all the time. You go through the dried fruit aisle and see what's speaking to you. They had a pineapple brick. They sold a pineapple brick to us, which is the most talk about a fucking food drug. The pineapple brick makes us both go fucking nuts. We have a rule that we cannot open the package of the pineapple brick without the other person being there, because like if one of us just opens it solo, we're gonna become like gnawing fiends and eat half the brick.
It's dried?
Yeah. So what happens is that normally when you dry a pineapple, you have to like coat it in some stuff so that it does not stick to other dried pineapple in the package. This company has decided to not coat the pineapple with anything, to just have it be completely, one ingredient, pineapple. As a result, all of the dried pineapple bits in this pouch have adhered together into an awful brick, and you have to just like scrape off some shreds as best you can and gnaw on them like
you're whittling.
Animal. Exactly, yes. And Joe, it's so good. Pineapple's the best fruit. It's insane that pineapple lost. I love pineapple.
But if we go back and change our mind on things, this whole house of cards is going to come tumbling down.
Yeah. Well, the house of cards has been tumbled for a good long time. I just wanted to give everybody a little insight into my head. Also, go out and get a pineapple. Also, here's another thing. My wife told me about this when I was like, pineapples are so fucking good. She grew up all over the world. Her parents were expats who were always moving. People think that it was because they were CIA spooks who were doing assassinations. What actually it was, I one time idly thought to myself, how come they don't genetically modify food so that it grows more good? And Emmy was just like, that was my dad's job. He did that. Yeah, he was in charge of places there like food couldn't grow because the soil was depleted. He would be like in charge of trying to make a variant that could grow in the depleted soil. As you can imagine, such a person is wanted the world over, hence the many moves across the world.
And it topples no governments.
Exactly. It actually the opposite. Here's the deal, though. At one point in my wife's childhood, she spent some time in, I believe, Cambodia, and there were people on carts who sold pineapples on a stick that had been cut such that you could just like bite chunks off easily, like bite-sized bits off of the fucking stick. And one day she tells me, and I don't believe how this is gonna be possible. And I kept asking, "Are you exaggerating?" She said, "No." She once had 5 pineapples in a day. Pineapples rule.
That's a lot of fruit.
So good.
So you had your big nerd formula about like whether or not a city's food stat is high enough or whatever that was.
Yeah.
But I did run into an issue where there was a place I liked very much, which was Crisp in Lakeview, which is a Korean fried chicken place. And I was always telling Winnie, like, can't wait to go to Crisp with you. It's really fucking good. It's awesome.
So here's the thing about Crisp. I'm going to second Show's opinion. It's fucking incredible. They have
good.
Very, very crispy fried chicken, but it's also juicy and flavorful inside. And they put this Korean sauce on it, which is spicy and sugary. That really has you can really taste the spoonful of fucking sugar in that sauce. They're not hiding it.
Yeah.
It's so good, though. It's like one of the best restaurants I've been to.
When I lived over there, that was always like if someone was visiting me that didn't normally visit, it's like, we'll hit up Crisp, we'll just get disgusting, because you can't eat that without like becoming messy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right, Winnie, let's go get Crisp. And she was like, cool, I'm excited. Because I don't know these things generally. It was Super Bowl Sunday, so when we went, it was a madhouse, and the chicken we got was fucked because they were just trying to keep up with the delivery orders.
Yeah,
so
the amount of attention given per chicken was like the lowest it could possibly be, just due to the volume.
Yeah, and like even I admitted like this isn't as good as it normally was, and I was like, "Fuck, this really sucks." I feel
there's absolutely no more humbling, embarrassing thing to say than this isn't as good as it normally is. Like no one hearing that will believe you. They'll all think that you're talking out of your ass.
So bad. But we got a second chance. Winnie and I went again, and it wasn't the Super Bowl. There were no big sports games, in fact.
I just got to say, I got to shout out Winnie for the incredible grace and kindness it takes to do this, to go back to a place like this that has not only disappointed you, but exposed your fiance as a bumbling boob.
Yeah. And we went, and it was as it normally was, and I thought it was amazing. And Winnie was like, it's just okay. And it was like she put a knife in my heart. I have never been cut down because like I'm like having the time of my life with the same food she is. So it's like, am I just like a pig at a trough? And yes, I am, but like, oh my God.
This is devastating. Joe, I didn't know. Okay. My understanding of the story prior to having had it told to me when I just seen the bullet points, I thought that both times Crisp was like just chunking it. Like Crisp had somehow fucked up.
If they chunked it on the second time, and it was not nearly as bad as the Super Bowl fiasco. So even still, I was made a liar. I was made a huge chicken liar. And then I had to be like, yeah, but they also have like the Buddha bowls, which are really good.
The Buddha bowl, the fucking okay.
I mean, they are good, but like you can't like you see how I'm like retreating in the argument already. It's like we're gonna go to a fried chicken place, and it's like actually they have really good rice bowls.
This is like when you're playing a song that you love to someone and they're not into it, and you have to be like, but the bridge is really interesting. And it's like, oh, no one gives a fuck about the bridge, idiot.
Yeah.
I would just want to say, when there's a restaurant that clearly makes a thing, all the other things are just so embarrassing. Like I recently had Pequod's Pizza with Kevin Johnson the other day, and we were on the website ordering, and like they have a whole menu of like Italian pastas, and like it's the pictures so clearly show that this is boxed pasta that they dump pizza sauce on, and it's like, who is the fucking rube buying the pasta? Like, don't sell that. Like, I just have the strength of your convictions to be like, yeah, we make fried chicken here, and that's fucking it. The bowls. Who gets the bowls? The bowl, as good as the bowl is, all the bowl to me represents is not having chicken, which I will refuse to do if I'm at the chicken restaurant.
Yeah, the main purpose of the bowl is that like you want a blank starch that you can use every single one of their sauces on.
Okay, fair enough. Now I've turned around on the bowl. I like the bowl now.
We're the Anime Sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crime way.
Thank you for listening to the food episode Redux.
Anime food looks so good.
Yeah, we have said that twice now, which means that you cannot tell us that this was not an anime-based episode. We did not lie to you about the premise of the show. We do talk about anime.
I'm a big fan of tweets that say anime food looks so good when it's just like awful food from The Simpsons. I fucking love it. I laugh every time. It's just good. It's good.
I love the Marge embarrassed meme where she's like looking out from behind her hand because the pile of food next to her looks like the most heinous. It's like the most poorly drawn mound of hell. It's so funny that like that's supposed to be the food Homer's eating. God. Also, like whenever they're at the dinner table and they have that horrible dinner plate of like one brown slab and mashed potatoes with no depth or height, it's just like
that's really good anime food, though, right?
yeah. It's anime food looks so good. Thank you for listening. I've been Tom, an anime sicko.
I've been Joe, an anime sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.